Hi. So welcome to Torah Times Gemara Shabbos Shir. Yes, what we see online here is the chart, not the Gemara. We will go back to that chart later. We are learning tonight Ilun Nishmas, my father Menachem ben Akiva, and the Atzloch of everybody in Klal Yisrael, hostages and everybody else. May we be zocheh to see Mashiach soon. What we're seeing here is a chart that has to do with the sugya of do you have to do bris milah, circumcise a baby that's born already mahul. The baby already born in a way that seems that he has already the bris milah, was born that way. Do you still have to do the bris milah or not? We're soon starting the Shir Gemara Shabbos Daf Kuf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. The question in general is: do we say Chalokes B'Shamai and B'Hillel? Look, B'Hillel B'Shamai. Do we say that the baby that was born mohul is really mohul and therefore you don't have to do bris milah at all? This is one way here. Besilel, the Shammai say you do have to give him bris milah, generally speaking, but not on Shabbos. Why do you have to do the bris milah? Because we don't really know that the baby has milah. The baby may have another small milah, maybe the baby has an orla that's compressed, kvusha, orla kvusha. The baby may have a really an orla that you cannot really see, so it's not really mahul, and therefore you do have to do milah. How can you do bris milah? He's already mahul. What are you gonna do exactly? What will you cut? You have to do hatofa. You have to prick and just get some drops of blood out. So that's a basic machloikes besilal and beshamai. And the other topic is Shabbos. Even according to Beth Shammai that say that bris milah is in place and is necessary, there's a special drasha. Yeah, it says olo soy veloy sofek. It's only a sofek if you have to do bris milah or not. So on Shabbos, don't do that bris milah, which is just a sofek. That's the general question. Now we're going to the actual Gemara. I'm sorry, to summarize what we saw yesterday. There are quite a few ways to explain Machloeket B'Sham and B'Hillel. Not there are quite a few ways that actually tell us what is Machloeket B'Sham and B'Hillel. So we just said one way, and that is Tanakama. Machloeket B'Sham and B'Hillel is what's the Machloeket? Do we say that you have to give bris milah? B'Hillel say no. B'Sham say yes, as long as it's not in Shabbos. That's way number one. The second way is Reb Shimon ben Elazar. We will see him in the Gemara soon. And he says, no, everyone agrees that one has to do Mila for such a baby, the pricking, the taking out the blood, the Hatofa, not on Shabbos though. And the Machlokes Rav Shmuel, Machlokes B'Shama B'Hillel was regarding a goy that was already mohul when he was a goy and came to be Megayer. Do you have to do bris milah to such a person or not? But nothing to do with nothing to do with nothing to do with a baby that was born. I'm sorry. Nothing to do with the baby that was born. Baby that was born with Mila, Rabbi Shimon Elazar will tell us that you have to do bris milah, but not on Shabbos, and that's it. Okay. Now, very good. Now comes other opinions, which we're going to see now in the Gemara. Okay, now, Amar Ma, Veloy Sofik Doiches Shabbos Latuye Mai, right? Loy Sofik Doiches Shabbos, what does it come to include, right? Oh, okay, yeah, Itmar. Rav Omar Halocha Ketanakama, Shmuel Omar Halacha Reb Shimon Elazar, which means everybody knows that halacha when it's B'Shamai versus B'Hillel, then we follow the opinion of B'Hillel. It's a mefurasha Gemara in Broches Daf Lamed Vav Amud Beis. We always follow B'Hillel, almost always. Rav says halacha Ketanakama, meaning the way Tanakama interpreted B'Hillel. The way we interpreted Basilal is what? Halacha Ketanakama. What's Halacha Ketanakama? That you don't have to do bris milah according to Basilal at all. Not at all. Shmuel Omar halacha ki Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Shmuel says no. Halacha is like Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, meaning Shmuel believes that just like Rabbi Shimon Lazar understood Beis Hillel to be saying that you do have to do bris milah, you have to do the bris milah, not on Shabbos, you have to do the bris milah. Very, very simple. Again, Rav says alocha ketanakama, which means that bris milah to that kind of baby is not in place. And Shmuel says, yes, halacha Rabbi Shimon Lazar, that interpreted Beis Hillel as saying you do have to do bris milah, providing it's not on Shabbos. Very nice. Story time. Rav Ada bar Ava, yeah, story. Rav Ada bar Ava, the Heilige Amoiro, Isyalid le'ahu Yanuka shehu Mahul. He had a baby born. That's our story. Mahul. The baby looked so heilige, achoshuv, a baby already Mahul, already, yeah, no orla, no foreskin, all good. Is it all good? Look what he did. Ahadai atlesa Mauloi. He went round and round town on Shabbos. His bris had it had to be done. The bris was supposed to be on Shabbos, and he actually took him to 13 different moihalim in town. Nobody wanted to touch the baby because everybody thought that a baby I mean, even for the pricking, you're not supposed to do that on Shabbos, right? So what did he do? He did it himself. Do it yourself. And nobody helps you. You help yourself. Ad shavik muloi, ad shavik shvocho. He himself, the father of Adabarava, he did that milah, and he didn't do it right. He cut too much, he pricked too much, and he caused him, unfortunately, irreversible damage, and he cut too much or pricked too much, and then the baby became, unfortunately, such a baby that eventually could not have children. Such a terrible tragedy. So he himself, Rav Adabarava, commented and said, tastily, I deserve that. Tastily, I deserve to have such a tragedy happening to me. The Avri Adirav, because I went against Rav. Rav said that such a baby does not get bris milah at all, according to Beis Hillel, like Tanakama, right? So I did not follow him, and we know that halacha kerav be'isuri, and we usually follow halacha like Rav when it comes to dinei yoredea or achaim, things that are not monetary laws. We follow Rav. Oy 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 to me, woe to me! I did not follow Rav. I followed Shmuel. That's why I deserve that, and it came upon me. Amar Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman told him, "Vad Shmuel lo over." What do you mean? I went against Rav, and didn't you also go against Shmuel? Eimar de Omar Shmuel b'choil b'Shabbos mi Omar. Although Shmuel said what he said was only in Chol, as I told you before, Shmuel says that on a weekday you do have to give bris milah to the baby that's already naturally gemalid, but on Shabbos mi Omar, no. Shmuel clearly held, like Rab Shimon ben Elazar, that said you do bris milah, but not on Shabbos. So not only went against Rav, he went against Shmuel. So what's your source? Yeah, it's not like you sided with one halachic opinion. You went against everybody. How could you have done that? I'd like to look at the chart now. What's the chart telling us again? According to Tanakama, Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai argue whether you have to do bris milah at all. Tanakama, who follows Tanakama? Rav. He says you don't have to do bris milah whatsoever. Now, Shmuel holds like Rabbi Shimon Elazar. That Beis Hillel holds sorich. Ay, avaloi b'Shabbos. On Shabbos, no. So if you really believe, if you did the milah on Shabbos and tried so hard to do the milah on Shabbos, doesn't work right. Because on Shabbos, even Shmuel says not to do it according to Beis Hillel. So where are you following? Then comes a whole new development. So Zog the Gemara comes something new. Yeah? Who sova? Vada orla kvusha. He held, who's he? Ravada Barava. He thought that we don't have a suffix whether it's orla kvusha or not, whether there's a hidden orla. If it's a suffix, on Shabbos, hands off. You don't break Shabbos for a maybe milah. But he thought that when a baby is born, that's a third shita now. If a baby is born on Shabbos, by the way, with a milah already, all done, already made by Hashem, he believes that for sure it's an orla kavusha, and if the bris falls on Shabbos, you do the milah on such a baby, even on Shabbos, which is not like any of the shittas we saw before. So what's his source? What's his very nice? But how does Rav Ada Barava know that? The itma, because it says in the brisa. One second. The itma. Rabba Omar. Rabbi believes that we're choishesh, we're concerned, we're machmir to hold maybe there's an orla kavusha. So on a weekday you do the milah, but not on Shabbos. Yeah, that goes very well with Reb Shimon ben Lozo in Basila. Rav Yosef Omar vada orla kavusha. Rav Yosef says no, it's for sure an orla kavusha, and we know that it's there, or we highly assume that there is an orla underneath, some compressed over there. So you have to do the milah on Shabbos because it's a for sure thing. It's a certain thing, like a regular milah. Amar Rav Yosef Meno Milah. How do I know what I'm saying is true? What's the source of what I'm saying? The Tanya says in the Brisa. Here comes a third opinion, a third way to explain Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel. And really, we're going to see four ways now. We're going to see two more ways to explain Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel. The Tosfos says all four ways are really the one long brisa. Rabbi Elazar Kapar Omer, Lo nechluku Bes Shammai ובס הלל על נולד כשהוא מהול, שצורך להטיף ממנו דם בריס. B'Shammai ובס הלל לא nechluku. They did not argue regarding Nolad Kshumol Shetzorch Latif Dam Bris. For sure, you have to do the Dam Bris. Yes, Hatof is required. Al Manechleku Lechalal Shabbos. Oh, finally, there's one way that according to one Tana, you take it to the extent of even doing Chilul Shabbos for the baby that's already mohul. B'Shammai Omrim Mechalal Nolad Shabbos. V'Hillel Omrim ain't Mechalel Nolav Shabbos. Interesting. So again, Rabbi Elazar Kappa is definitely relating to another opinion. Rabbi Elazar Kappa says, listen, people, I don't think, as opposed to what you're telling me, yeah, there is no machloikes whether yes or no you have to do hatafa. For sure you have to do hatafa for that baby. The only machloikes is, does it even override Shabbos or not? But Shammai say Mechalon Shabbos, Bes Hillel Omrim ain't Mechalon Shabbos. Okay, Mechalokes is regarding Shabbos, and Bes Shammai are the ones who say you have to be Mechalon Shabbos. Now that is of itself cannot be the reason for Rav Ada Barava to do what he did, or to Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef and Rav Ada Barava in the same team, but they can't say we follow Bes Shammai. But here, wait. This comes to prove what the Tanakama of Rabbi Elazar Kappa says. And that is what? Lav Michlal, the Tanakama Sovar, Mechalon Olav Shabbos, which means, let me explain to you something. If Rabbi Elazar Kappa holds, Rabbi Eliezer Kappa holds, that there's a difference between Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel, whether yes or no Mechalon Shabbos, Mashma, the Tanakama, does not think that there's a Machloikis. Tanakama believes that Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel both are unanimously saying the same thing. What is that consensus that Bes Shammai and Bes Hillel agree about? That for sure everyone, even Bes Hillel, hold Mechalon Levatzah Shabbos. Okay, again, let me explain. If Rabbi Eliezer, by the way, a couple says, that's not the Machloikis. Really, Bes Shammai, Bes Hillel say, do the Milah, but not at the expense of Shabbos. And Bes Shammai are the ones who say yes on the expense of Shabbos. Mashma, what was the first opinion is coming to refute and to reject and to argue? Somebody who says that everyone, including Bes Hillel, believed that you Mechalel Shabbos for such a Milah Kvusha, for a Milah of a baby that was born mole. Oh, here's our source. Must be, says Rav Yosef and Rav Ada Barava, his follower, that really you Mechalel Shabbos for such an Orla Kvusha. Frek the Gemara, how do you know? How do you know? All we know is that Rabbi Eliezer Kappa said that yes, there is a machloikis, and we can figure out without knowing what Tanakama says, the Tanakama believes that there is no machlokas. But maybe that there is no machlokas works the other way around. Dilma Tanakama Diva Akol Ein Mechalin Koma. How do you know? In other words, all you know is Rabbi Lezer Kappa who's arguing, is talking, saying, no, they do argue. Mashma Tanakama says that they don't argue. Shkoyach. Maybe they don't argue as what? En Chalalin. Maybe both Bisham and Basila believe that there's no Chilul Shabbos allowed. Both Bisham and Basila say, no Chilul Shabbos. Yes, you do the milah for such a baby, but no Chilul Shabbos. And then Bakapal comes and says, no, that according to Bishama, you are allowed to be Chilul Shabbos and supposed to. Zog the Gemara, that cannot be. Why? Im ken, Rabbi Ezra Kappa, Tamad Bishama also lashmoinan. Ha. Again, very good. If you think that Bisham and Basilil are telling me both that you are supposed to, yes, Mechalel Shabbos, Chilul Shabbos, tik, Bisham, yes, Basilil, yes. And now Belezer Kapper says, you know what? No. Just Bisham say Mechalel and Basilil say no. Oh, the point of Chiddush of Belezer Kapper is in Basilil. That makes sense because we always want to know what Basilil says. But if you want to learn your way, that both Bisham and Basilil, according to Tanakama, they both believe that you don't Mechalel Shabbos, then what's Rabbi Elazar Kapper's big news? What's the nias? That according to Bishamai, you are allowed to be Mechalel. You Mechadish something in Bishamai? Who cares? We anyhow don't follow Bishamai. So why is he telling me something where the only big story, the only chiddush in B'Shammai? Therefore, must be by default that if he's mechalik between yes, no, B'Shammai B'Silel, the Tanakama, which we like to follow, holds that both opinions says yes, mechalel, and that was the inspiration for Rav Yosef and Rav Ada Barava, who looked for 13 different moyalim. Zog the Gemara, one more move to refute that. Zog the Gemara, no, dil ma'achi koma. I have a third way of explaining it. Maybe that's what's going on here in the sugya, in the machlokes braysa between this mysterious Tanakama and Rabbi Elazar HaKappa. And that is what? Lo nechleku b'shama u'b'silel b'dovor zeh. What does it mean? So now, lo nechleku b'shama u'b'silel b'dovor zeh means as follows. Maybe, yeah, maybe no. Maybe when before we continue, let me tell you one thing. Tanakama can't just tell me B'Shama and B'Hillel, right, are all saying the same thing, because Rabbi Elazar Kappa says Lo nechleku, mashma, they're not cholek on what you say, they're cholek on something else. If Tanakama holds everyone's the same, B'Shama, B'Hillel, everyone says yes chilul, everyone says no chilul. What's the meat? Well, what's going on here? So what is the argument according to Tanakama? Says Rashi, you know what's the argument? B'choil. Let's read Rashi inside. B'shanina. Dil machiko mabloz la Tanakama. The Omar b'Shabbos l'divra akol en b'chalelin. Okay. Maybe really Tanakama said that on Shabbos you're not supposed to be mechalel l'kul alma. So what did they argue about, for heaven's sake? Plugtayu b'choil. Maybe they argue on a weekday, meaning the lebesilel ain't soch lotif menu dam bris. Oh, that is, as we originally said, the real Tanakama, remember? That really, according to Basilel, you just don't have to do any atofas dam bris on the chol ever. Clearly not in Shabbos, yeah? And B'Shamai say, yes, on the chol you do, but on Shabbos you don't. That is actually the first opinion number one that we said, right? Zogt now Rabbi Elazar Kappa, Leisa, says Rabbi Elazar Kappa, no, they didn't argue on a choil. That's his point. The lo nechleku b'davar zeh levad tzarich. Of course, on a weekday, everyone agrees that you have to do the milah to such a baby. Or b'Shabbos u'de pligi. On Shabbos, they argue. Meaning, they argue on Shabbos that B'Silel on Shabbos say don't, and the Shabbos say yes. The time of the B'Silel also lashmuinan. The B'choil tzorich. The Chiddush is in B'Silel. Don't tell me B'Silel say on Chol you don't have to. You B'chlal don't have to mal such a baby. You do have to do such a baby on regular day. Lapukim and Tanakama don't B'Silel tzorich. Very, very nice. Now let's summarize everything. Let's summarize what we're saying. Okay, let's see. So now the thing is as follows. Yeah, the story is like this. Okay, we have the chart over here, and now there are really four potential opinions. According to Tanakama, the one and only Tanakama, really at the end, as it came out. According to Basila, you just don't have to do the Mila whatsoever. Forget it. You're wasting your time. Do something else. Don't prick that poor baby. The Shammai say, Tzorich, but not on Shabbos. Generally, yes, but not on Shabbos. And that is actually the drosha of Yimel B'sar Orlo Soy, but not on Shabbos. Now, who holds like that? Rav. Rabbi Shimon Lozer said, Tzorich, yes. Everyone agrees you do the Mila, generally speaking, to a baby that was born Mohul, the Hatofa, not on Shabbos. That's what Shmuel says. Yeah, that's why he said, I'm not following Rav, and really he did not follow Shmuel either. Why do they argue? They argue about a goy, like an Arab. They're already in Mila. Now, there is the Tanakama Blozer Kappa. Toysis wants to say in the bottom of the page, this is another understanding in Rabbi Shimon Lozer. What did Rabbi Shimon Lozer say? That everyone agrees to the same thing. What do you mean the same thing? Everyone is in agreement unanimously that not like we say over here that you have to, but not on Shabbos, but you have to even on Shabbos. That was the understanding of Rav Yosef and Rav Barava. They were the most machmir. Rav Barava mamish followed it until his baby became Lolen Kruz Shavcha, because he believed that the Rabbi Shimon Lozer says that you always have to do it even on Shabbos l'kula alma. And on that said Rabbi Lozer Kappa, Torich, but not on Shabbos. Besilel say that on Shabbos no, and the Shammai say Shabbos yes. Now, what did the Gemara say at the end? At the end, the Gemara said, listen, we wanted to reject, or not completely reject, we want to argue on Rav Yosef and Avada Barava and say it's not clear that Tanakama says you have to do it even on Shabbos. Maybe really nobody says you have to do it on Shabbos. Elamai, the argument is chol, meaning Tanakama says you don't have to do it at all. The Shabbos says you have to, and on that says Rabbi Lozer HaKappa, no, nobody says on chol you don't have to do it at all. You have to do it on chol according to Basilel. Very good. That's a summary of the whole business. Baruch Hashem. Questions or comments are welcome. Says the Gemara weiter now. Omar Rabbi Asi. Says Rav Asi. A new piece of information now, the two dots. Kol shimot me'aleino. Any baby whose mother has been through tumas leida, nimol l'shmoino. V'kol she'en imot me'aleida, ein nimol l'shmoino. Which means, let's say most mothers, most women who give birth, when a woman gives birth, always, it's actually machlokes in the Gemara, if it's connected to the blood or stam, the etzem, leda, sama, always there's whatever, there's tuma. In any event, a woman that's been through birth has tuma. It's a tumas leda, not even tumas nida. She's tmeya, 40 days, 80 days, boy, girl, she has to bring the korban at the end of the day, the end of the story. So now comes Rav Asi and says, if the mother is Tmei Leda, a regular Jewish woman, then the baby gets meal on the 8th day. And we're not talking here about Shabbos. We're talking in general. Now, and the Kol She'enima Tmei Leda, if the mother is not Tmei Leda, how could that be? It could be she was not Jewish. At the time of Leda, she was not Jewish. She was Mrs. Mackenzie, and she gave birth. And 2 days after she gave birth, she was Megayer. Okay, that's quick. And now the baby, what about the baby? Since his mother had no tuma, therefore the mother he does not get his meal on the 8th day. He gets his meal done ASAP, as soon as possible. Now, how do you know what's the connection? Look at the pasuk. Yeah, the beginning of Parshas Tazria in Vayiko Shenemar, Isha ki Tazria, v'yoldu zocho v'tomo. If a woman gets through the regular process of she is being actually she has a baby, right? She conceived. She gave birth to a baby boy. V'tomo, she became tome. Then you do the milah on the 8th day. But otherwise, says Rashi, no. If she another very, very good example is yoytze doifen. And that applies today regarding Shabbos, not in general. Let's say the woman has been through cesarean. A woman has been through cesarean, me'ikar din, does not have tumas leda, no blood or no regular birth at all. whichever way you look at it. It wasn't regular birth. He had to cut the stomach, and therefore what? Therefore, she's not tmeah. She's not tmeah. Then he gets bris milah straight away, ASAP, and not on the eighth day. We're right now not talking about Shabbos. According to Rashi, the issue is not Shabbos. The issue is Tam, the general concept of Shmoynes Yomim. You don't have to wait for the eighth day. Omar le Abaye. Abaye is now asking of Asis, questioning it, and says, those Rishonim mean the early generations. Who are the early generations? From Avraham Avinu, when halacha already applied to Jewish people, such as Avraham Avinu, and Avraham himself was commanded to do bris milah, and from Avraham Avinu all the way till Matan Torah, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the children, the Shvatim, what about them? She'eni matmei aleida. The concept of Tuma did not exist before Matan Torah. Why? Because the Tuma wasn't there. The Torah never told us to keep Nida, to keep Leida. Didn't exist. And therefore what? And yet, Eni matmei aleida v'nima l'shmoina. Look, although the mother has no Tumas Leida, and yet the Torah said, have to be mal on the eighth day, right? You tell me all of a sudden a new thing that depends on mother having tuma. No, you see that Avraham Avinu Sarah, she has no tuma. They ask a question about the fact she was pure sanida, right? That's storing the Tanakh. Maybe there was a chumrah that they were noyeg. They didn't have to. Yeah, they didn't have to be noyeg nida. She was like, eshes chaver. They had the concept of nida, but it wasn't a chiyuv. Yeah, she wasn't tmeya halachically that has to do this or has to do that. There was what they did on their own volition. But now, if there is no tuma, yet you see that the nima l'shmoina. Omerlei. So now, Avasi tells him, nitna Torah v'nischat sha'alocha. There's a big difference between before Matan Torah and after Matan Torah. Not the same. Nitna Torah v'nischat sha'alocha. Yeah. In other words, once we have Matan Torah, it's a whole new world. And now we say that the concept of Tuma definitely applies. If it applies, then what? Yofi. And if not, not. Before Matan Torah, there was no Torah given to us as a nation. It was only for individuals. There was no obligatory, mandatory Hilchas Tuma V'Tara, anything like that. Then Shmoina. Now the Torah says, I have news for you. Now we have the concept of Tuma, and we are toiler, we make it incumbent upon Tuma, that there should be Shmoina. Otherwise, if there's no Tuma, it's first day number 1. Okay, so now, frag the Gemara, Eini, is that so? Look, the Itmar, it says in the Memra, Yoitze Doifen. What's Yoitze Doifen? It says Rashi, Shenikra Simon, which means cesarean. There was a cesarean, nituach keisari. The baby is a yoytze doifen. Umi sheyesh lo shte orlois. A baby that has 2 orlois. How can you have 2 orlois? 2 either 2 skins, 2 foreskins, one on top of the other, or he has 2 evarim. He has 2 genitals, yeah? So shte orlois. Such babies, what about them? Ravuna v'Rav Barav. Ravuna argues on Rav Chia Barav. Chad Omar Mechalon Shabbos. One of them says, Mechalon Shabbos on such a baby of Yoitze Doifen and the Shte Orlois. Let's leave the one of the Shte Orlois for later, for a minute, and just concentrate on the one that we're talking about, the one whose mother is not Tmei Leida. The mother is what? Cesarean, is Yoitze Doifen. And what do we say? Here's a discussion. Let's say that cesarean took place on Shabbos. The Milah has to be 8 days later on Shabbos. One of them says, Gizun Tehet, Mechalon Shabbos, like regular baby. Mechad Omar, Ein Mechalon. No. The other says, no. You do the Milah on the 8th day, generally speaking, but Ein Mechalon. What do you see? Adkan Lo Pligi, Ela Lechalon Shabbos. The only discussion is, yes, no, maybe so, regarding Shabbos. If the cesarean was on Shabbos, the baby became 8 days old on Shabbos, then we say, okay, Hilul Shabbos, yes, maybe no. Aval Shmoina Vadim Alin. Sounds like, conceptually, generally speaking, Shmoina, yes. In other words, if it was born on Sunday, meaning the Caesarean was on Sunday. Next Sunday, invite everybody that have a day off on Sunday, and let's have a nice party, have a bris, right? Shabbos is the issue. Much more other than that, no. The actual halacha, general halacha, that the baby gets meal on the eighth day, that does apply even for a Caesarean baby. It's a doifen. Dr. Gemara, no, 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 no. Ho beho talia. One depends on the other. Look at Rashi. Ho beho talia. The two mechlokesim depend one on the other. The chilul Shabbos tali b'mila l'shmoino, meaning the mishanim l'shmoino, a baby that's supposed to have meal on the eighth day, doich Shabbos. If you really halachically have to have the meal on the eighth day, then it really that's no other time. That's when you're supposed to do it. Doich Shabbos. Umi she'einu nima l'shmoino, einu doich Shabbos. If you're not supposed to have it dafka on the eighth day, let's have it ASAP first, second day. Then you shouldn't push away Shabbos. The chiksiv b'yom shmini, the alfinan mineva afilu b'Shabbos min shmoyne ksiv, says Rashi something genius. These are not two halachos. The same pasuk b'yom shmini is telling you two things. Yom shmini. Stop general halacha. 8th day is the day of the Milah. Last time I checked, and b'yom shmini, even on Shabbos, right? It's not two different psukim. It's just the same pasuk on steroids. The same pasuk with a red underlining, at Gasha, no other day, even on Shabbos. Very good. So maybe it's really one and the same. In other words, if the Milah is supposed to be done on the 8th day, then 8th day is so choshuv, even an expensive Shabbos. If it's not supposed to be the 8th day, let's say the baby was supposed to have the Milah on the first day, but it didn't work out. I don't know, for whichever reason they didn't do it, and they wait to do the 8th day, don't wait for Shabbos. You don't push it away to Shabbos. It's like Milah Shlo Bizmana. And therefore we say that he does not have to have the Milah then. And tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem, will continue into Machlokes Tanoim about a baby Eved. Thank you very much. Atzlochu bracha. And tomorrow maybe we'll repeat the same shir for, don't worry, not online, but at home. And we'll see what's going on. Okay, Atzlochu, thank you very much for coming. And may we be matzliach and see Mashiach very, very soon. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for me'am lo'ez and Torah.